If lately you've been noticing yourself feeling more guarded, more skeptical, or quick to assume bad intentions of others, I want you to know there is nothing wrong with you. Our nervous systems are constantly taking in a stream of threats, outrage, and bad news. This affects the way we think and feel in our environments, and it leads to something that psychologists refer to as mean world syndrome. That term, mean world syndrome, was coined in the 1970s by communications researcher George Gerbner. It refers to how our exposure to the media leads to us feeling less safe around others, causing us to sometimes view others as more irritating, frustrating sources of competition, rather than people that we can collaborate with and enjoy. There is, however, a very powerful antidote to mean world syndrome, and that's what I want to talk about today. The skill that you can practice, which combats mean world syndrome, is the skill of choosing to see the good in other people. Sometimes we just are so caught up in a fear-based interpretation of others that we fail to look beyond that and notice the beauty in other people. And there is so much beauty to see. So today I want to share with you some things to consider, some things to look for, and some things to try that can be powerful in combating the tendency to experience mean world syndrome. This is not only going to enrich the relationships that you have, but I guarantee this is going to improve your overall quality of life. So let's get started. Things to consider. I want you to consider that there is always someone somewhere who is working for you. Think about when you wake up in the morning and you put your clothes on. Someone had to design those clothes. Someone had to play a part in the manufacturing and distribution of that clothing so that it got to you. Maybe you get on the road to go to your destination. Think about the people who designed those roads, those who paved the roads, and the people who maintain those roads every day. Think about when you get hurt or you're not feeling well, and you can travel to a hospital and you're greeted by strangers who have dedicated years of their lives getting educated so that they can be equipped and available to help make you feel better. Think about when you're hungry and you go to eat. Who is it who made that food? Who planted the produce? Who harvested it? Who played a part in the packaging and the distribution of that food so that you can walk in a grocery store and exchange your hard-earned currency for this precious food that keeps you alive? The truth is that our lives are made possible by countless strangers that we will never get to think in person. But these strangers are all around us. These are the people who contribute to this collective society that we're in, and these are the people who allow us to have so many conveniences, so many modern amenities, and so many services that help make our lives work. So fill your heart with appreciation for all of those people that you'll never get to meet in person. When you're kind to the people around you, that's your way of showing appreciation to those people. Another thing to consider is that people right now are struggling. There are over 1 billion people on this planet who are dealing with mental health issues. And there are hundreds of millions of people who are dealing with hardship, some type of financial hardship or poverty, food insecurity. Why does this matter? Because dealing with these things affects how people show up. It can lead to behaviors that reflect anxiety, depression, paranoia. Another thing to consider is all of the people in your life who have invested in you. Think about those who have invested in you since the beginning of your journey. This might be caregivers, teachers, medical personnel, mentors, neighborhood friends, siblings. Think about all the people who did things to serve and support you, who saw something special in you and encouraged you, who coached your teams that you were in school, or who gave you that really important piece of advice that helped you get through that tough time. It's possible that you have dealt with disappointments from people that you wanted to count on that didn't show up for you. But if you think a little bit longer, I imagine you'll think of others who showed up, maybe people who didn't have to, but people who stepped in and did what they could to help you get what you needed so that you could develop into who you are today. I hope that thinking about these things opens up your heart a little bit and gives you a warmer feeling about the people in your world, the people you know and those that you don't. Now I want to talk about some things to look for. When it comes to things to look for, the first thing I want you to look for is other people's gifts. other people's innate talents. The very special thing about looking at others' talents is that when we notice the raw talent in someone else, it can do something in us as people. It can give us a little charge. Think about the last time that you listened to beautiful music. Remember what that felt like in your body just to take in that music, to think about the lyrics, to hear the harmonies? Think about when you're watching a sporting event and you see athletes who have worked so hard to cultivate that athletic prowess, and they're able to perform in such an exciting way that you have chills all over. See, we get to experience so much all the time based on other people using and working on their talents and their gifts, and there's so many. There's some that are really visible, and then there's some that are less visible. Think about the people that crunch numbers all day so that these important places of business can stay in operation. Think about people who are innovators and who design things, who invent things that help us to live better, to have different technologies. Think about people who are doing some of the maintenance, who are fixing our cars or fixing things in our homes so that we can continue to use basic different appliances that we need and that we rely on. There is just so much out there to do, but what we really need is people who are willing to do it. And because there are so many talented, gifted people out there, we're able to continuously enjoy the fruits of other people's labors. The next thing I want you to look for is the effort that people put in. It's one thing for people to have talent, but raw talent alone doesn't do much. I want you to look for people who are really trying hard, people who are dedicating themselves. Think about if you go into perhaps a restaurant and someone is working so hard to make sure that all the right food gets to the right tables. Look at that effort, look at that spirit. Think about when someone greets you walking into a store, or when someone is outside climbing a pole to make sure that there's a cable line, or that there's a phone pole that's going to work properly so that you're able to have the conversations and the Wi-Fi and all the things that you rely on. Look at people applying themselves. Look at people dedicating their time and their energy so that your life can be better. Another thing to look for is things that you can relate to in others. Sometimes when we are viewing other people through a fear-based lens, we're not seeing all of the things that are actually shared, things that we have in common with others. Or we might see people who we initially think are different, and sometimes thinking that people are different evokes a sense of fear or distrust. But I guarantee you that anyone you see, if you are curious enough, if you lean in enough, you're going to find some common ground. You're going to find things that you could relate to, maybe common emotions, common experiences, something in your histories. So look for things that you can identify in other people that help you to feel something that is some kind of commonality, something that's shared. This helps to promote a feeling of connection, even when there's people that we just don't know that well. Okay, let's talk about some things that you can try. The first thing that you can try is committing a random act of kindness. What's fun about a random act of kindness is this can involve doing something that is simple but special for a total stranger or maybe someone you know, but it's something that you do kind of in secret. So you're not trying to get something from this person, it's not transactional, but it's a gentle reminder to this other person that there is good people around and that someone wanted to do something to lift their spirits. It also gives us a good feeling when we get to walk away from something that we know that has made someone else's day a little more special. Okay, another thing that you can try is offering someone a heartfelt compliment. So often we might notice something that we appreciate, but we don't necessarily take that step to verbalize it. And I just want to remind you that when we offer a compliment to someone, we have no idea what that might do to that individual on that day. This is something that might give someone some healing energy. It might help them to feel a redemption of their personal worth. Maybe they've been fielding some negative self-talk, and hearing your compliment helps them to reconsider who they are through the eyes of another person. Maybe this compliment causes them to have a surge of confidence, so they reach out and attempt a new goal. Or maybe this is something that they carry with them for years that helps them to just feel better about who they are. Whatever the case may be, offering compliments is something that can go a long way to making other people feel better, but it makes us feel good too. The final thing to try, which is a little bit more in depth than offering a compliment, is to identify someone in your life who has had a major impact on you, a positive impact, and take the time to actually craft a message to let them know. This might look like a lengthy email or a letter, but really it's letting someone know in a more elaborate manner just how they've impacted you. If this was someone you knew growing up, maybe let them know how their participation in your life during a key time affected you. Did it help you overcome something difficult? Did it help you form a new sense of identity? Sometimes people don't know what they have meant to others, and when you verbalize to someone else how they've impacted you, it reminds you of how fortunate that you've been to know this person. It also reminds this other person that their time and their heart has meant something. I just want to take a moment to remind you of what an important person you are. The world is such a better place because you are here. And I hope that every day you take the time to do the things that you need to do to take care of yourself and to get the support and inspiration that you may need and deserve, because you are worth that. Thank you so much for watching. If you know someone who could benefit from this message, feel free to share it, and I look forward to seeing you next time.